Hey there. How are you?
All
My
right, man.
mom
Are
was just
you?
asking, "Are you on yet?"
We
So,
are
mom,
on yet.
we are on now. Nope, not Discord. I gotta get my
Gotta
Twitch.
get your Twitch on.
Get my Twitch on. Man, Image Comics. There's a lot to pick. And you know what I realized when I go through like the list of like series that have come through Image? There's so many that are incomplete or so many that are just like 6 issues, 5 issues. There's not as many long running series as I imagine. Has he got something on the side, a little
I just
pet?
got an alert, and it
Oh,
says that we're on. I don't normally get it because my alerts don't come up after 10.
oh, that's
So I was like, "What's
hilarious.
that?" Oh yeah. Sorry. So say the last bit again.
I was just realizing that a lot of Image series are just like 5 issues, 8 issues. There's not as many long running series as I
No,
imagine there are. There are
there are quite a
plenty,
few, but
but it's not the majority. That
yeah,
they're in the minority, surprisingly.
yeah. I don't know what the criteria would be for being able to do it, or if someone's just that prepared, or there's so much belief in that series to do it, because there's still a certain amount of risk involved as creators when you're working for Image, because you're still putting a certain
Yeah,
amount of
yeah,
time and effort and money into it,
that's right.
which will, funnily enough, be discussed in the collector's item special
Nice.
that's out. That's going to be next week, and this will be out the week after.
Yeah, yeah, and
So,
that's
sorry, go on.
cool. That's cool. No, no, I think that's also the cool part about Image Comics is that there are a few long running series that are a commitment, but for the most part, you can get a lot of good stories, 15 issues, 12 issues, like that's your series, and there you go.
I want. Oh, there are questions I want to ask you, but I don't want to ask you until we're running.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, is anybody with us yet? No, we're a little
No,
early, so
we are a
maybe
little.
it's
Oh, Scrubs has got the boom.
boom. Hey, Scrubs. I don't see him yet
It says
on
boom,
my there. There he is.
boom.
All right, got it. I'm
You're
pretty
right,
sure my
dude.
mom is watching as well.
Hello, Eric's mum.
Yeah. Hey, Mama. I'm sure she's enjoying the
Mama,
company.
I love you. Little bit of
That's
Spice
actually.
Girls for you.
Oh no, that isn't the song. I danced with my mom to Boys to Men when I
Uh,
got married. You know how it's like the mother son dance? Do you guys do that there?
to the end of the
No, no. It was
road.
it.
That's the only
No,
song I
not.
know.
It was actually called Mama. That's
Oh, it
actually
was
what the
actually
song.
called Mama.
Yeah,
I
yeah. It's
don't, I
kind
don't
of
know
like
that
in the
song.
vein of Spice Girls. Was a bit. I
Oh,
was a big Spice Girl fan back in the days. I mean, I
really?
was the right age. I was the right
The
age, right?
music or just the?
All of it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I was 13. Pretty
Wow.
girls in a girl band.
I suppose I was a postman then, and there's quite an embarrassing story I just remembered, and I probably shouldn't tell it. Uh,
We're live now.
we're live now.
This will
Just
be kept.
realised.
They'll hold it against you.
I'll tell. Well,
Tell me off the
no,
air.
I'll tell you off the air.
Yeah,
There are some stories I can share from when I was a postman. There are some weird little
that's.
moments.
Was it a fun job being a postman?
No, I absolutely detested it. So I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. My stereo was set to play "Smells Like Teen Spirit," so it would wake me up. So it's a relatively gentle start, and
Yeah, yeah.
the volume would turn up on its own,
Oh wow.
like,
Yeah, right, right, right.
so I had to get up, head on out. One time I got stopped by a unmarked police car. So I was all dressed in black. I didn't have a uniform. I had the bag, and they went, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing wandering around here at this time in the morning? It's 5 o'clock. Most people are in bed." "I'm a postman." They went, all right. "Can I see some ID?" And I went, "Can I see some ID?" And they went, "Oh yeah, fair enough." Unmarked police car. Like, who the hell are you?
We got a bunch of
Oh
people showing up.
wow,
All right, here we go. We're
Spice
ready to
Girls and
roll.
Boys to Men. You've all come at the right time.
That's right. We are going to
Oh,
be talking about Image Comics today, gents and ladies and whoever's watching and listening.
sorry.
No, that's
My
okay.
phone makes all sorts of noises. It turns out till 10 o'clock.
No, no problem. Are we ready to go?
Did you
Should
have
we
a black
drop?
and white cat? No, I did not have a black and white cat, Scrubs. I had a black and white dog, though, but it doesn't rhyme as well. Postman Doug.
As soon as I take a sip, you guys make a joke. Ah, nice. Um,
Teenage Disco.
I'm gonna make one quick check
Okay,
on the little friend on the other side there and
with the
see she's
bone.
okay, and then that with the bone. Exactly. 1 second.
Howdy, howdy, howdy to who we got in the Hizzles. We got the Scrubs, we got the Bread, we got the MM901. We
We
got...
are good. We are good to go.
Did I see... No, I thought I saw Raf, and then I don't. I think his time is like way different in the Japans. So he may be along a bit
Maybe.
later. But
Yeah,
otherwise, we
maybe.
have the usual crowd.
Yes, the usual suspects.
Ducking out to bone before we start, says Scrubs. That's correct. The
That's how we
little
got it.
bottle
A little
of
bit.
sauce that we've got on the left side of your screen there. Look at him. Look at his cheeky little face. Like butter wouldn't melt, mate.
Guys, my mom is listening.
His mum's listening. Don't mention that he's touching his Randy man.
My Randy. All right. Shall we get this show on the road? Top 10 Image Comics.
Do it. Why does this seem
All
quiet?
right.
Let me... One sec. Do. I mean, I'm the same volume. I just need you louder, that's all.
Shall we?
The tickle trunk is open for business.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
totally forgot about the tickle trunk.
Good call. Omega Bread.
Bread.
Good job.
Bread is bacon tonight.
All right. Let's get into the zone. Ready? Here we go, boys. 4, 3, 2, 1, and... Welcome back, everybody, to the Omniverse Comics Guide podcast. We are your Omniverse Comics Guide guys. I'm Eric. That's my pal Jake the Snake. Dave, how's it going, Dave?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you, Erickson. What you been up to, my dude?
I've been reading a lot of Image comics lately.
Oh, what for?
Well, I thought since we do a comic book podcast, maybe one day we could talk about Image comics. Maybe do a top 10. I don't know.
That's
if
not
you'd
tonight,
be up
is
for
it?
it. Pardon?
Is that tonight?
Are you up for doing it tonight? Impromptu? Could you do it off the top of your head?
Let me just get rid of these examples. I'll be right back. What? Hang on, what's that, Glenn? Glenn.
Yes.
Glenn said he's gonna give me some examples, so we'll be fine.
Perfect.
What?
Thank you, Glenn.
He doesn't look anything like Fred Durst, Glenn. Right, carry on.
For everybody that's tuned in with us on Twitch, thank you for joining us, hanging out with us during this live. For everyone watching on YouTube, thank you for tuning in again on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. We're almost at 1,000. That's great. Right? That's getting very close. And anybody that's listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whichever platform you prefer, and you're not seeing Dave play with his snake right now, whichever platform you prefer, give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and comment. Leave us a comment, good, bad, ugly. We appreciate the love. And of course, the snake distracted me. Dave,
Doesn't it always?
Of course, visit us at omniversecomics.guide, where you get all of our podcast archives, our collector item specials, our interviews, some great interviews we got there, as well as Dave's second to none, as I like to say, reading orders.
Oh.
If you want to find a comic book crossover that has been omnified or some series that you want to know where it begins and all the in-betweens, Omniverse Comics Guide is your place for it. Omniversecomics.guide. Let's get it right.
So I think you nailed it. It was all right. We'll forgive you. It's just because of the amazingly kind words. You are
It's
forgiven,
true, man.
sir.
It's true. Do we have any mailbags today? Anything we got to do before we kick off the show?
No mailbags.
Okay.
We can get straight bang into it.
Who's going number one this week?
I think you had a number one last week.
All right.
I think.
Take it away,
Is that
Dave.
right?
Who cares?
Okay, so we are talking top 10 Image comics. There are some really obvious choices. There are probably some less obvious choices. I'm intrigued to know if you've picked up any of the superhero books. I'm going to say in advance, I haven't. But I am going to start us with a pretty obvious choice, because
Yes.
as much as you can say, like, really going to go with really obvious, well, how can you not with
Yes.
some? And it's this obvious choice. It's The Walking Dead. So this is
Nice.
probably Image's biggest seller, I think. Hang on, I'm going to try and... It's quite heavy. I'm going to try and show them off. I had a hernia there. There you go. It's 4 compendiums worth. Fuck me. Oh,
So that's the whole series.
that's the whole series. It ran from 2003 to 2019, 193 issues. It's a lot. I mean, most of the trade paperback, well, the compendiums are 48 issues a pop for the most part.
That's a
It's
good value.
a big and it's really good value. It is a black and white series, but I've never heard anyone complain about it. You know, you get some people going, "Oh, I want to read that." You know, it's black and white. It's you don't even notice you're reading a black and white comic.
Can I be honest about something? Hot take. I've never read The Walking Dead
You
at
never
all.
read The Walking Dead.
Never read The Walking Dead at all. Zombies weren't my thing,
Uh huh.
so it wasn't even a matter of it wasn't for me, like it wasn't good or the right. Like I like Robert Kirkman quite a bit. There's a couple of
I'm well
things,
aware.
right, and but Walking Dead I never got around to. I might give it a shot. It's just a matter of which format do I want to make the investment in, because it does take up a lot of space.
It takes up a lot of space, and there are multiple different formats. You can get it in individual trade paperbacks of about 6 issues a go, but you can imagine how many trade paperbacks that's going to take. You know, that's
Right.
quite a lot. So in this format, like I read the first story arc quite a few years ago, you know, when it first came out, Volume 1, and I didn't carry on. And a friend of mine, Pete Ware, I've mentioned, okay, friend of the show, Pete Ware, the guy who trained me to be a designer, he said to me, "You've got to stick with it." And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And he goes, "I've got a compendium, take it home." So he brought it in for me from into work, and I didn't stop. Like the compendium is probably the best way because it lets you really get into it, and you have no excuse to stop. And this takes you all the way up to the governor storyline with the prison. I don't want to say too much about it, but they did a version of that storyline in the TV series. What was that, series 3 or something? I don't even know. I stopped watching it after series 2, and it's so much harsher than the TV series. And if you think you're familiar with what's going on, you know, because I mean, there's no Daryl, he doesn't exist. And some of the characters that are together in the TV show aren't together in this, or they're with other people. So it's got its own thing. So watching the TV version won't spoil much, if anything.
Right. Okay.
There are a couple of spin-off books as well. There's Clementine, which is a trilogy that's from Tilly Walden, I think, but it's getting a lot of praise from some and a lot of the opposite from others. But I haven't actually tried it out yet. There's Here's Negan, which was a one-shot graphic novel as well, which obviously relates to that character, but I haven't read it because I haven't got to that point yet. Here's the one confession from tonight for me, is that I haven't finished The Walking Dead. I've only got halfway through, but it's so good. I can't imagine it not
Of course.
continuing that way.
Right. Right.
I do need to pick it up again. And also there's another book called The Alien, The Walking Dead, The Alien, which is by Brian K. Vaughan. I think he was the first person, and Marcos Martin, and they were the first creators outside of the main team to work on the series. So Brian K. Vaughan was the first writer who wasn't Robert Kirkman to work on this. So yeah, it's so good. Like, it's just so good. I think when Charlie Adlard comes along as artist, so Tony Moore does the initial arc, and he's like essentially the co-creator. But when Charlie Adlard comes on, British artist, yay, go the Englands. I don't know which part of the country he's from, to be fair, or if he's even English or Welsh or whatever. Sorry, Charlie, I should check. But something just clicks when he's on the book. I think it's part of the simplicity of his art. It kind of makes... It's like when I've talked about Kaiju Max before, about how cutesy it is, and it's almost disarmingly cute. You know, you're almost... When it's really visceral, you're not expecting it to be. Because your head's been put in it's total misdirection. Your head's in the wrong place. To a degree, I think some of that is true of The Walking Dead, because that art is so nice and so clean. I can't really compare him to anybody. It's not cartoony, but there's something simple about it, and it just works. So if you... Marvel Man said, I love The Walking Dead comics, and yes, he's read up to about issue 100, give or take. So have I. That's about as far as I've got. But yeah,
Question for you, Dave, in regards to the compendium, because this is something that I was going to bring up in this conversation, but I got a problem with Skybound specifically not including their covers in their collections. Does this include covers?
No.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Yeah, I hate that.
And I don't know if they've been told, if they don't care. If anyone from Skybound happens to be listening to this, stop doing that. It sucks.
Stop doing it.
Because at the end of the day, we know when that issue ends, because we've read comics enough to kind of know, well, that would have been the end of the issue.
Mm.
And the way this page carries on, it would be the first
Yeah.
page of the issue. We would really appreciate the covers.
Well, we're missing out on the artwork. We're
Yeah,
missing out on that kind of breathing room of going.
yeah,
I'm just going to stop at this point
yeah,
tonight because this is a nice, comfortable place to stop. Not partway through an issue, possibly. I don't really know.
exactly. And it's not a matter of, well, if you want the cover, you should buy the single issue because you just want the story and that's all. Like, no,
No, it's
we enjoy the
obnoxious.
cover. Yeah, we enjoy the covers as well. We want it all. We
Yeah.
just don't want to
Why
have
wouldn't we want it all?
200 single issues,
Yeah.
right? We're going to buy 4 compendiums. Thank you very much. Include the covers, Skybound.
It's a very. Are you all right? Do you want to step down
No.
from the soapbox? Are you all right? Do you need to breathe?
I'm going to get off my soapbox in a second.
Thing is, it's perfectly fair, and it does annoy me. I'll be honest. I didn't notice it on this because I was just plowing through it.
Right.
But I like to know where the chapters break, and I would like to know where to put my bookmark if I don't want to stay up to read another 4 issues worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marvel Man just said, I love the Walking Dead comics. Oh yeah, sorry, I just mentioned that. But mentioned about the covers. Did I miss something? No, I'll cut this bit. But yeah, the covers should be in it. I hope that they re-released it recently as well as a deluxe series, so I think they've coloured it. But I have no interest in that. This feels right. It feels like it was like this for a reason, and it works. Like it really, really works. So it's got shading, like kind of that grey. What do they call it? Grey tones by Cliff Rathbone. So it just makes it's not just a black and white. It's like toned. So it works. It's kind of then reminiscent of the original. What was it called? Dawn of the Dead. Which was obviously black and white. Great series, great characters. There comes a point where the zombies are almost incidental. It's very much about the survivors and about the humans.
Right.
And there's a wonderful twist moment in it where the title is explained, and it just made me go, whoa. That was cool. So, yes. Highly, highly recommend The Walking Dead. If you haven't read it, there are going to be people out there who haven't, like yourself. So I envy you being able to get into it for the first time.
Nice. That's exciting. Thank you for including it because I hadn't read it, but in the top 10 image list, I'm happy one of us had.
Yeah, cool. Hang on, I'm just going to adjust my camera. Okay.
You good to go?
Mm-hmm.
All right. My number one, which there's a couple of obvious ones that would be number one for me, or my first pick tonight, not necessarily number one, but I'm going to take it before you steal it. I'm going to go with Brian K. Vaughan, Paper Girls. Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang, Matt Wilson, Jared K. Fletcher all deserve the credit on this one and can't just give it to the writer because it is such an ensemble. Like, everybody does their job, right? Cliff Chang on the art, Matt Wilson on the colors, and the story is a ton of fun. I know Saga is the Brian K. Vaughan image series that gets all of the praise constantly, and not to say that Paper Girls didn't. I mean, they made a TV show out of it, for goodness sake.
Well, part of
canceled.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it got canceled. But as far as the book is concerned, it's a time travel story. It gives you the feel of the Goonies and Stranger Things, but it's not derivative. It's very much its own thing. It's not too it doesn't lean too much in any direction of trying to think of the right word to say. Like, it's just a great story. Everything that happens within this story feels like it served a purpose. It did proper character study, and kind of like in the way that Back to the Future is one long story, but it takes place in the span of like 2 weeks, give or take, right? These 3 movies. That's what this story is. It's these 4 paper girls who meet on Halloween night or the day after Halloween, delivering their newspapers in their neighborhood, and they come across some shady characters that they may confuse as just leftover trick-or-treaters, right? Because they come across some bullies and then a couple other people dressed as ninjas and a couple other people dressed as white knights, and a couple of them aren't Halloween costumes. Let's just say that. And where that leads them into this time travel caper is fun. It's scary. It's extra dimensional. There's a lot of heart to it.
It's really clever.
It's very clever how they do it. There's certain symbolisms that I think all of us can kind of relate to and attach ourselves to in different ways. And it's a period piece in the fact that these are girls from 1988. That's the year that they're in. So their worldview is very much in the 80s, but then as they hop around through time, they might see a some like a placard on someone's lawn, vote for so and so.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand what that would mean because of when the book was written, but for kids coming from 88, how they would understand that is just so much fun. It's very interesting. And
Yeah.
like you said, clever, right?
Well, they do justify, like you say, they basically justify setting it in the 80s when a lot of stuff was being set in the 80s. So I think that came out around the time of Stranger Things, and Stranger Things almost leans on the nostalgia of the 80s. Right. There's no real other reason to set it in the 80s, you could argue. But Paper Girls is different. There is a reason for it. But it's the way that the time travel does fit together. So if you do try, because I'm a nightmare for, I think I mentioned this on something, I'm a nightmare for picking time travel apart and going like, nope, they made a mistake. That's not how it works. You break your own rules, whatever it might be. This doesn't. It's very clever. It pays off as you go through. Some things come full circle. It's one of the most rewarding series I've ever read. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like this is for me the perfect size series. 30 issues. It's a good price point. Nice. This is the compendium version. I know the deluxe editions have a couple more frills in the back, back content wise. I remember the trades were really cool. Like the covers of these single issues drew me to them. Like you really do judge a book by its cover, and I couldn't take my eye off of it because these covers were just one solid color.
Yeah.
And they were like movie posters.
Yeah.
It just said Paper Girls, and it had one character on it. And you're like, what are they up to? Like, what is that book about?
Uh-huh.
And everything, as you flip through it, you're like, this is like a movie I would watch. It felt like that immediately through Cliff Chang's art.
Yeah.
And you just want to find out more of the one thing I did miss. I remember in the single issues is that there was good back content, and they had something to decipher the language from the future.
Oh, really?
There was a way to kind of decipher it, and it's the only thing in this one where they don't have that extra. I could be wrong, but I remember that there was a way to decipher it if you had that chart at the back of an issue. Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember if that is in the deluxes or not. It might be. I can't remember. I've got those, but I can't remember.
And I could be wrong. I could be misremembering it for another comic book that did that. But I felt like when I read it this time, I'm like, oh man, there used to be a way to figure out what they're saying. I was sure of it. But anyways.
That is such a great choice. It would have been on my 5. That would have been on my 5 as well, because I love it so much. It's fantastic. Omega Bread says the cipher for the language is in the deluxe editions. Thank you, because I honestly could not
there was
remember.
A cipher.
Cipher.
There you go.
Now. It's nice not switching facial hair this week. My second choice tonight is one that I don't think we've mentioned on this show. I think it came up on Cave of Solitude for very good reason, because the creator was on it. But this is Headlopper. It looks like it's like a 30-something issue series. It's actually just 16 issues. It's so far run from 2015 to 2021. But it's still technically ongoing. But we haven't heard anything of it in a while. But it doesn't matter. Like the way it's chaptered, it almost doesn't matter. So even if you pick this up and we never get volume 5, you're fine. All the stories work well individually. So it's about Norgal, who's kind of a Conan. He's a riff on Conan, basically. But the whole vibe of the series looks a lot more like something like Zelda.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of seen it as a mix between the two. But the best part of him, because he's all well and good, he doesn't really say an awful lot, but he carries this witch head around with him.
That's right.
She's called Agatha.
That is a great series.
It's a fantastic series.
I read it because he was going to be on the Cave of Solitude that you helped set up, and I read all of those trades, and I was very happy to say that I enjoyed them so much more than I imagined. They were great.
Why do you think you might not? Is it the art style?
You just never know. You never know when you're going to read something that you haven't encountered before, whether it's the artist or the writing, and it is something different. Like it isn't your usual The artwork is different, but it looks childish somewhat.
Yeah, it's a very toned down
But
style, isn't it? Like it's not hyper detailed. Sometimes the detail is so little that Norgal basically looks like a nose or just a pair of eyes with a beard, you know?
but it's all part of the design.
Yeah,
Like
completely.
everything about it is very deliberate, which you learn to enjoy and come like as you and each of those books are their own self-contained stories. They don't it pays off to read it all, but if you happen to read number 2 and you like it, most likely you'll like number 1. Like
Yeah.
that's how it feels.
Yeah, you could easily get away with just reading any one of those books on their own.
Yeah.
But well worth picking them all up. The issues were longer than normal, I think. I think they were like
Yes.
double-sized issues, which is why the book seems so thick for just 16 issues. But it's so funny. Like, it's laugh out loud funny as well. And that the witch head, and I can't remember her name. I think it's Agatha. You can actually buy a plushie of the head,
Yeah, that's
and I
right.
couldn't at the time for whatever reason, but I really wanted that head. I always want head, but like in this particular situation, I wanted that one head so bad.
I
It's a
get ya.
it's a fantastic series. It's genuinely one of the most entertaining titles Image have released. It's a bit of a surprise as well because it doesn't. You're looking at it kind of going. Is it like, I think to a degree, I remember looking at it going, "Is that really going to be that good?" It's so good. It's
It really
such a
is.
good series.
Yeah. Yeah. Great call.
There's been some interesting typing from Omega Bread. I think he's sloshed tonight. Head Lipper has been in my buy lost forever. He's been holding out for a compendium. Not really. He actually spelled that right. I'm kind of hoping. I'm kind of hoping they do a compendium as well. But seeing as we don't 100% know how many issues are going to be in the thing, it might be a 2 compendium. It might be. I don't know. I don't know how long he's intending having it go on for.
Yeah, they're really really worth it. I think I read them digitally, all of them, and definitely worth the value of yeah. It's a great book, great series, good call.
Thank you.
All right, uh, yeah, autocorrect is a bitch. I understand Omega Bread. All right, my number 2. I'm gonna go with something I'm currently reading. I started it years ago. I bought the trades as they were coming out, and I enjoyed them enough to say when this gets collected in some deluxe format or when the series is finished, I'll know what I'm in for, right? Because
Yeah.
I once you start, it's like, is this going to be 12 volumes of trades? I'll just get the big deluxe. Anyways, it's completed now. It was on my list for compendiums of image compendiums when we did that, and then you said to me, they're actually coming out with something for that particular series, but they're doing it in 2 volumes. So far, I got volume 1 of Birthright.
Oh.
Joshua Williamson, trying to think of the artist name, Ed Bresson? No, that's not right. Andre Bresson. That's the name. It is a lot of fun. I'm really, really enjoying this series. I know Joshua Williamson has become kind of like he stepped into the Jeff Johns role at DC, writing everything and kind of overseeing every series and event. But this series right here, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I'll break down the synopsis at the back to just do it justice and
Yeah.
not spoil too much. The Rhodes family, they lost their son. So for the Rhodes family, losing their son was the most devastating thing that could have occurred, but it couldn't prepare them from what happened when he returned. Lost to a fantasy land beyond imagination, Mikey Rhodes has returned, a powerful warrior of legend. But not all is what it seems with Mikey, and even the greatest fantasy shatters in the face of reality. So I found a lot of my choices tonight have like a theme of the lost and found. I didn't
Oh.
do that on purpose, but it just seems to kind of be the thing. So you got Paper Girls lost in time, trying and encountering different versions of themselves. And in this case, you've got this boy who's gone missing. Um, the family is in turmoil over it. I won't get into more detail than that because it's part of the story and the plot. But he returns as basically this looks like a Jason Momoa Conan figure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conan, right? Comes back very much like that to the point where he's just ready for medieval war. That's what he looks like. He looks like he's been in Lord of the Rings and fighting in Mordor. And in a way, he has. But in what capacity? What's the full story here? Nothing is quite what you think it is, and it becomes a road trip story with him and his older brother. It's got that flashback between what happened to him while he was away, little Mikey, and the family catching up to speed with filling in the blanks of his story.
Right.
All with high fantasy involved in it. It's a ton of fun. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I think I'm into the fourth trade of it now.
Right. Okay. So you're probably nearly about finished with the book, right?
Yeah, I'm almost just past halfway point
Okay.
in the book. So I'm looking forward to it and hoping that it continues on after issue 25, that it finishes with a bang. So far, the first three trades in, I'm all in. Give it a shot, however, which way you want to try. It's really, really fun.
I'm quite envious because I've only read the first 6 issues, but I really, really like them. And it's the first Joshua Williams stuff I've read. Williamson stuff I've read. I haven't really liked his superhero stuff. It's almost a little too fanboyish to me. But I think his strength is probably in his own creator-owned stuff. And those first 6 issues really, really won me over because it is like a cross between Conan and Flight the Navigator, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. And I got to send a special shout out to the art in it. Andre Bresson kills it. Like, it's such a strong part of the story. And because there's the consistency of them being the artists throughout, which is not something you always get in the big two comics, right? You'll get a fill-in artist just to get this one here. They make their schedule. They put that book out when it's ready.
Yeah.
And you feel that the labor of love is, you get it when that book comes, to the store. And this book, the artwork in it is tremendous.
I'm looking forward to reading it.
I hope someone gives it a shot and that they like it as much as me, and I don't oversell it. But that's my number 2.
Well, I'm again sorry. I'm just going to stumble through the Deleuze edition of Birthright. Are you all right, Brad? You having a stroke? What are you doing with the other hand? A real swords and sandals vibe from Tonight Picks. In the next pick the Bible? No, because Image haven't done that yet.
A real swords and sandals vibe. Yes, you're absolutely right. And maybe he's getting that witch's head that you wish you had.
Maybe he is.
Maybe he's got it. All right, you're number 3.
Speaking of creative teams that stick in with something for the long haul, so far this series has lasted 72 issues. And it's still going. So I don't normally include something I haven't finished, but this is my second choice tonight. Technically my third choice tonight that's unfinished. But I have that much faith in it. It's by Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples. It is Saga. I have the compendium. There will be 2 compendias. How do you do plural? Compendiums? Compendii.
Yeah. Compendii.
Comprende? So... There's 2. I think there'll be 2. I reread the first issue just to remind myself of the vibe, because I don't want to read this properly until Volume 2 comes out, and then I'm going to do a whole, plow through and as quick as I can between doing reading orders for other shit. This is very sweet, very funny, action packed, drama filled. I'm gonna ignore you, bastard. So it's sorry.
Take it from the top.
I don't even know what I said. I'll just pretend I do.
Drama filled, sweet.
It's genuinely funny, but also a little bit on the filth side. So it's perfect for me because I do like that. It's very adult humor. There's some very graphic moments. So even in the first issue, there's 2 robots doing it. So one of the villains is Prince Robot the Fourth, and you actually see him getting it on with his robotic lady. It's really surreal. It's one of the most surreal, but it's so unapologetically surreal, but it doesn't make you go, what am I looking at here? Because one of the characters is a seal in dungarees, like a baby seal, and it's the cutest thing you've ever seen when Fiona Staples is drawing it. It's just unquestioningly creative and brilliant, but it doesn't lose you, and it could so easily lose you for all the madness that happens in it. But there's always something very human that draws you back into it, and ultimately it's a love story. It is about 2 people from 2 different worlds that are at war, and one of them is the guy is arrested, and I wrote everyone's names down, but I don't know where. But he's arrested, a little horned man, and he ends up on prison on the other planet where he meets, I think she's called Alana, and she's supposed to be guarding him, and then they just run off. And then by the time the two sides catch up with him again, she's just given birth, and it's narrated from the perspective of their daughter from the future. So she's kind of looking back and saying, so she might hint at things to come, like, I didn't know it was going to go this way, but at that point that's what they were doing. And you go like, oh, you cheeky little bastards, you're really hooking me with everything now. So I like those little hints of what's to come. Like, it's one of the things I've loved most about long form comics, you know, because it's like you're building to something and you know it, but we're not going to get there yet. But you're going to just give us these little nuggets, these little teasy nuggets. Don't tease my nuggets, Brian K. Vaughan. Oh, yes,
another confession: I've never read Saga. I read the first issue and I just felt it wasn't for me at the time. Kind of like Walking Dead. The TV's doing it. I'm like, what is going on? But, there's no reason to not give it a second chance, especially because the length of the series, the praise, the universal praise that it's got. It's like there's got to be something there as to why it's so successful and it's receiving the accolades it's received. So, and I'm a fan of Brian K. Vaughan. I haven't read anything from him. I can't think of anything I've read from him that I didn't like.
Creator-own wise,
yeah,
even at his worst, he's good.
Yeah,
I can't think. Big Two stuff. I mean, Runaways was good for Marvel. If you've read any of his stuff from Runaways, DC wise, from what I've read of his DC stuff, not so great. But I don't think those mainstream comics really suited him. Doing his own stuff is really where he was always meant to be.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, he has some great creator-owned stuff. I'm big. Why the Last Man, Ex Machina. Big fan of Ex Machina. I don't think that gets spoken about enough.
I haven't read it.
Even though you haven't read. Yeah, it's a fun one.
There. It's been there.
It's good.
I've had it for like as long as my eldest child has been alive.
Give it a shot. I'd love to hear what you think about it. It's fun. Yeah, it's a good one.
I will.
Okay, so we're at the halfway point.
Are we? We are.
We are. Is it time for our commercial break?
I believe so.
All right. Dun, 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 dun.
Wow, wow, wow. I don't know what the hands serve no purpose.
I don't know.
That's pointless. Okay. Oh, to the Omniverse. We're having a look at our top 5 most viewed podcasts on the YouTubes, because it was quicker to do it that way than combining all the different platforms it's on and me wasting my life. So, our top 5 most viewed videos on YouTube in the last month are at number 5. Top 10, Ed Brubaker. Yeah, people liked it. Number 4, your interview, sir, with Jeff Johns.
Nice.
Still plowing on, man. But number 3, your interview with Jim Shooter.
No way.
Yeah,
He
way.
hasn't gotten back to me. I reached out to him, friends. We are trying to get him back on. Just so you know, we're tempted.
Number 2, incoming for April 2025.
Nice. That's
just came out today.
Came out. Nice.
Or yesterday. And at number 1, incoming for March 2025. So people are all about the incomings. People like it when we're coming.
We can always throw one in there, right?
Oh, steady.
Oh,
as long as you clean it up after.
Nice. I was just thinking when you mentioned Ed Brubaker as well as Jeff Johns, they've got a couple of Image series that I'll confess I didn't include them because we've been talking about their Image series at length for a while, and I just felt like I didn't want to bore you guys with mentioning the same stuff. But check out those episodes if you want to hear about their Image books, because there's a couple mentioned there that are top-notch and worth checking out.
Which ones were they again?
I remember you mentioned Fatale, Kill or Be Killed.
So I meant which episodes, so I can put the graphics up.
Oh, my bad. The Ed Brubaker episode, top 10 Ed Brubaker, and our interview with Jeff Johns.
And top 10 Mark Miller.
Mark Miller, great call, because there's a couple of options there that I didn't include because, hey, we did those episodes, so check those out. Give them another listen. Or if you haven't listened, first time.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that if you hadn't mentioned it before we started. I totally forgot. He was at so many publishers. Like, it's hard to keep track.
It's true. That's the other thing as well. There's some things that I felt should I mention them under Image because they originally came out under this banner, and it's like, do they are they, so I tried to go with stuff that came out specifically and are known for being under the
Yeah, that's what I
imprint.
try
Like,
and do. But you can't. We can cheat.
no, you can't. Okay, are we back into the countdown?
We're at your numero through. E.
All right.
I'd
All
said
right.
that like Omega Bread's typing.
Let me check my list and make sure that I've got what I. All right. So I mentioned Paper Girls. I mentioned Birthright. This is a series that I've recently finished. For the first time, completed the whole series. I had read a large swath of it and I never got to the very end. I finally did, and that's Rick Remender's Black Science with
Oh,
Matteo Scalera. 43 issues.
is it?
I remember the volume one when I had picked that up and just feeling that like these were two people really allowing themselves to like stretch their legs and do what they really wanted to do. And I remember Matteo Scalera, I think he referenced like that Frazetta field, that sort of the way that he drew the landscapes of that first couple scenes in Black Science was very like sci-fi, different dimension. You felt it, and I was all in. And the artwork is again something that needs to get a lot of credit in regards to this story because Rick Remender does what he does, and with whether it's Deadly Class, Black Science, Seven to Eternity, or even some of his Marvel stuff, I feel like he's it's his catharsis. His stories are his sort of catharsis, letting out whatever he might have, whatever baggage he may carry on personally, he puts it into the characters that he writes. And in this case, it's Grant McKay, who is a, what does he consider himself as? It's like an anarchist scientist, like scientific anarchy, where they're dealing with black science. So they've created this device that allows them to hop interdimensionally to the other version of a world that kind of mirrors their own. But his purpose of doing that is not for any money, not for any sort of celebrity, but to kind of see where they've solved all the problems that our dimension needs to solve. So
Ah,
I'm going to bring back the cure for cancer. I'm going to go here, figure out how to, give everybody clean water. That's his goal. But because he's become obsessed with work and he's got so much childhood trauma and baggage that he carries with him, a lot of his he's kind of like a Reed Richards if Reed Richards just let his
was a
all
bit
his flaws
broken.
out. Exactly. The way you would imagine Reed Richards to actually be if he was, the
Yeah.
weight that he carries. The Grant McKay is kind of that, and it's just a one thing after another when they're dimension hopping now, and some of the people he's brought with him weren't meant to be along for the ride in their sort of archaeological search for these cures or these solutions. They just encounter problems and are on a run.
Mm.
So there's certain premises within the book that are a little bit, far-fetched, and I think maybe the series went a little bit longer than it
Oh,
needed
really?
to.
Okay.
Maybe it could. I don't know, but at the same time, again, the artwork is just so wonderful, and it's Remender and Scalera all the way through. Right, you got that creative team all the way through. I read it in the compendium format. It does include the covers, as does the Birthright hardcover. That does include the covers as well,
Ah,
thankfully. At the back, unfortunately, they're at the back on Birthright. Anyways,
they're
the Black Science
trying.
one does, and I gotta say that the reason I picked this is because there's a lot of points in that book where the dialogue between the characters, things that they say to each other, they resonated with me at a time when I needed to hear it.
Ah,
And that's why the book, I think that's why I'm kind of a sucker for Rick Remender. I'll always give his stuff a chance because I know that he's kind of including some of his therapy sessions into the characters and into the dialogue, which isn't for everybody. But if you're into that sort
but
of
what
thing, and
is?
again, pardon me.
But what is for everybody?
Exactly. So again, going with the theme of the lost and found, there's a lot of lost and found plots in this story. Lost children, lost parents, lost brothers, whether it's in death or just in another dimension, we got to find each other again. So
Huh.
Black Science, Rick Remender, Matteo Scalera.
Cool.
Good one. It's a good one.
I've only read the first 6 issues. My friend my friend Obal, Owen Languistine, lent me um, the first volume, and I really liked it. But I've got the deluxes, but I haven't read them, so that's given me a bit of a push, mate. Thanks for that.
All right. I hope you like them. I really
Yeah,
do.
me too. I think I will. I've got a feeling I
I
will.
hope so. Okay.
Okay, my number 4
Okay.
has been mentioned on the show before. It was in our top 20 for 2023. It did very well. I can't remember if it was my second or third choice, but it wasn't. I don't think it hit the number 1 spot because Kaiju Max was out, and yeah, Kaiju Max beats all. This is 8 Billion Genies. It's an 8-issue miniseries. It's
Thinking about that one.
2022 to 2023. Of course, then the book came out in 23. It's by Charles Soule, Ryan Brown. They're currently working on another series called The Lucky Devils, and because this was just so damn good, I can't wait for The Lucky Devils as well now. It's a story about everyone on Earth getting their wish. Everyone on Earth is granted one wish. And you think, okay, how much story can there be with that? And the wish takes the form of one of these little genies as well, by the way. They're kind of cute and a bit weird, but everyone gets their wish. So some people wish immediately. Some of the humans that get a wish are children. Some are too small to be able to even understand what a wish is, so they don't use it yet. But some of them, like a child might wish for a dinosaur, So some of it might be adults, just go, I just want a big monster truck and loads of money. It can vary, but then you get into some pretty cataclysmic wishes. And when they all combine all at once, it's chaos. And this series could be the biggest mess you have ever read, but it isn't. And I don't honestly know how the hell they worked this out, but it's so perfectly assembled to make all of this make sense. And it does it almost like a day 1, day 2, day 3, day 10, day 30, and it starts to move time forward in that way. And you start to see how the impact on the world. And it's funny. It's really, really funny. When it's funny, it's so good. It makes me laugh so damn hard because it's got a slight bit of nastiness to the humor because there's some pretty awful things that happen to people. But it's just, it's relentlessly smart. It's so smart. Like just the way you're reading it going, that's just so clever. But it's not smug about it. You know, the way some writers are like, I've got a really clever twist. And you go like, it is clever, but you annoyed me with your arrogance. It's so dumb at the same time that it just balances out. For all its ingenuity, it's also so incredibly childish in some ways. So it
That's part of
appeals
its
on
genius.
so many levels. And one of the things I like is when I find a series that they cannot make into a TV series. And you go like, this is why comics are great, because you could never make this into a TV series. They're making this into a TV series. I said the same about Saga. They're making that into a TV series as well, apparently. I don't care. This is always going to be superior to me because like the way that it works and the way that you can kind of jump back and look at a few pages back and go, oh God, that's really how you've done it. There's something different about the way that you read comics. And this really leans heavily into it. This is a comic book. And it earns its place on your shelf by just being one of the best things you'll ever read. And I read it very quickly because I could not put it down.
It's a good one.
One book,
I read it off
done.
of the strength of your review.
Oh, cool.
And I kept that book because it is one where it's like when you get back to reading it, it's gonna hit. You got to forget it just a little bit for it to hit one more time. Oh yeah, that sort of thing. It's a great book and a very, very interesting premise, like you said, because it is a childish sort of premise where everybody gets a wish and gets what they want. But look at what happens if we really get what we want.
Yeah.
I think what are the consequences of that? And our childish brain, if I was in charge, if I could do that, I would do this. And it's like, oh yeah.
Can you imagine everyone's self-righteousness activating all at one moment in time? It would be insanity. There was a question from Omega Bread in the chat as who the art was by. It's by Ryan Brown. I will flash some art up on the screen that kind of show. I'll find some better pages. He did God Hates Astronauts. So if you've got that, it's the same person. But written by Charles Soule, who's known for Daredevil. And they're also the creative team on, oh no, I forgot the name of it. It's one about magic. That series, what is about the magic?
Curse words?
Curse words, yeah.
Okay.
But curse words I liked. This was just infinitely better. It was just so rewarding as a read. So, thank you. Yes,
Soule's a good writer.
Charles Soule's fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good writer.
I did thumbs up. I don't do that. Like it's the 80s. What's that, Glenn? No, fuck you.
I thought his name was Fred.
Glenn. There was a
Glenn.
period of
Okay,
time
sorry.
when he was called Raoul because he was trying to dodge tax. But he's called Glenn.
Okay. All right. Getting back to the countdown, my number 4. I'm gonna go with a shorter series, the way you just did right now. I'm gonna copy you, and I'm gonna go with. I was gonna pick Do a Power Bomb, but this isn't a hidden gem episode,
Why you
so
could
we're
have picked
gonna.
Do a Powerbomb? Why didn't you?
I know, but it's not a hidden gem episode. I'll save it for one of those ones there. Instead, I'm gonna go with another Daniel Warren Johnson series, one that I don't know if this was on your list, but
It was nearly on my list.
yeah, Murder Falcon. Now, there's numerous ways that you can pick up Murder Falcon, whether it's in the soft cover or in the deluxe hardcover that's been recently put out there. I think it came out in 2022. This deluxe hardcover. Well worth it. Well worth it. What is Murder Falcon about? It's a pretty silly premise, but I'm gonna read it just because I haven't read it in a while, but I'm gonna share the back of the book for everybody. The world is under attack by hideous monsters, and Jake's life is falling apart until he meets Murder Falcon, Murph. Murph was sent from the heavy to destroy all evil, but he can't do it without Jake shredding up a storm. Now, with every chord Jake plays on his guitar, the power of metal fuels Murder Falcon into an all-out kung fu fury on those who seek to conquer Earth. It is about fighting monsters with a Murder Falcon who gets his power from heavy metal. It seems ridiculous. It's fantastic.
It is.
It'll make you smile. It'll make you laugh. You'll feel like you're on a roller coaster ride, and you will cry. And there's no spoilers involved.
No.
Check this book out. This is one of the reasons why Daniel Warren Johnson gets a lot of the praise he does. This book pulls off a trick. He finds a way to take these ridiculous, even with power, to do a power bomb. It's the same sort of trick he pulls on you in the sense of, here's a story about this, action-packed, it's meant for me to draw fight scenes, but it's all, the foundation of this is so much heart in his stories. And this one, it really hits home. It's great.
It is fantastic. I was going to say, like, if you do like kaiju, metal, and just insanity, you'll love it. But I don't think it matters if you don't love it. Even one of those things or none of those things. Something about this altogether just works so damn well. I think it's just the care that he puts into it and the excitement it feels like he's put himself into that book.
And it's, again, like you said, with 8 Billion Genies, it's a comic book. If you like comic books and you want to read a really good comic book, this is it. I don't always say that about everything, but this is one of those stories, series, graphic novels, however you want to look at it, that is, check it. Even if you don't like comic books, if you want to read a good comic book that packs a punch for real. And I mean that in all seriousness. It's so good.
Well, I think people are sold, dude. Marvel Man said that sounds so good. Scrubs said it sounds intriguing, and Omega Bread says, "Wow, that sounds like everything I've ever wanted in one book." Joe, it surprised me, especially as I wasn't a fan of his previous series, but I loved Wonder Woman: Dead Earth. But even after the expectation that came from that, it just surpassed it.
Yeah, because it pulls the rug from under you.
Yeah,
it really does. So yeah, check it out. Have fun. Go on the ride and let me know what you think about it.
All right.
Well worth the money.
I'm going to hit my last one, dude. And
Okay.
It's not going to be a surprise. And I have mentioned it on the show before. And
Please do.
Don't know if it was twice. So apologies if this is the third time. But hey, if you haven't read this series yet, then read it. This is Revival. These are the deluxe editions. This is an incredible, what they call a rural noir. It's written by Tim Seeley, who I'm a huge fan of. The art is by Mike Norton, who has a kind of a Paul Pelletier vibe, mixed with a little bit of Alan Davis. So it's like a much more simplified version almost of Paul Pelletier.
1 second, Dave. 1 second. I just need to stretch. 1 second. I've got my copy.
Ah.
I have the compendium. It's next on the
Oh, I
reading
like
list.
that spine.
Yeah, I've been waiting to read this based off of all the praise you've been giving it. Continue.
Cool. I'm really glad you've got it, and I really hope you like it. One of the great things about this as well, and you know what? Do you know what, Robert Kirkman? They include the covers as chapter breaks in these. Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah. Yeah, you do say. What's that you said about Robert Kirkman, Glenn? I think we get sued for that, Glenn. We can't.
That's libel.
We can't say that. I think Omega Bread would be embarrassed to hear those words.
Oh, jeez.
Glenn.
Easy, Glenn.
Oh, take it easy, Glenneth. He's a lippy little trickster. So it's a crime noir. It's set in a rural town where the recently deceased, for, I don't know, of like the last year, come back to life. They come back from the grave. And when they come back, and I've said it much the same way in previous episodes, they bring their secrets with them. One of them is our main protagonist's sister. I forgot her name, and they haven't put it on the back of the book. I'm terrible with character names, all right? Unless they're called something like Cyclops, or they look like their powers. I can't remember people's names. You're going to say, aren't you?
Dana Cypress?
Yeah, perfect. Dana Cypress. It's been a while since I've read it.
Read the book. I come through.
You do. I've read it twice, but I haven't read it in a while. But I think when I finished it, I read it again immediately because I loved it so much. It's 45 issues. The covers, it's 47 issues, I think, but 45 of them, of the covers are by Jenny Frisson. They're beautiful covers. They're stunning covers. They're so, so nice, man. They're pretty. They're a little disturbing, but you can't not look at them. I love the way she does it on the deluxe as well, because like you see the front of the character and then you see the back, and each one kind of reveals a little bit about the character and their motivations on the. She's obviously protecting her son, and
interesting.
Yeah, I won't. One of them kind of spoils things, so I'm not going to show that one. Not only are they lovely books, but the way that Tim Seeley plays it is he just constantly hits you with cliffhangers, and this is why this works as a monthly title. But also, thank God it's collected in something that's a trade, like a compendium or these, because I couldn't wait. I can't imagine waiting a month for the next part. The cliffhangers are so strong. They're so strong. I've been late for work so that I could finish reading. I remember when I finished the first hardcover, I was an issue away from the end, and I ordered the next book straight away because I had to have it. I couldn't wait. It's genuinely a really exciting book. You feel really excited reading the book. You don't know what's going to happen. Tons of surprises. The one thing I will say about it is the payoff, the ending, or the reveal as to why this has all happened. You'll either love it or you might not. I didn't like it when I first read it. I didn't like the reveal, but it didn't matter because it almost wasn't about that by the end of it. It's about all the other stuff that happens. So it's almost just it's like a device. When I read it the second time, I like the cliffhanger. I like the reason. Just fine, thanks. You know. I wasn't. I think it was because there was such build up. Like, how can you possibly what's it gonna be? Oh, okay. But I don't care. The fact that it's still my number one series from Image, genuinely, and is probably my second favorite comic series of all time. Oh no, Preacher. Oh, that's tough. Maybe 3. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's top
tell
3.
Xander Cannon on you.
No, he's number 1 still. He's number 1. Kaiju Max is 1. Revival might be 3, and I'd say Preacher is number 2. So the fact that it's that high, and that actually also means it beats Peter David's Hulk run, is probably saying quite a lot.
You've read a lot of comics, so
Couple.
That does say a lot.
1 or 2.
I can't wait to read it. I off of the strength of your reviews, I almost bought the hardcovers, but I would have been missing one of them, and it would have been hard to get. So I'm like, I hope they come out with some sort of new collected format that I could start this from scratch. But it's on the list. Hopefully by the end of this year, I'll have it read. So yes, thank you for mentioning it.
That's all right.
My fifth pick is very much in the same vein of your fifth pick, in the sense that as soon as I got to the end of one deluxe edition or one end story arc, I needed to get the next
I've already filled
story.
it in.
I had to keep it. Part of you already filled it in.
I've already written down
Okay.
what it is. Yeah.
Should we let the folks on live guess? I'm sure people could guess, but either way, there's plenty to choose from. I almost didn't include one of the stuff on my list because I was gonna throw in something off the top of my head that's excellent, and I mentioned it before. Anyways, Invincible is my fifth pick. Robert Kirkman. Uh, I can't think of the artist's name, either of them right now, and it's bothering me.
Keep talking. I'll remind myself. I can't remember either.
Because Ryan Otley does the
Yes.
majority of the artwork, but it's Cory Walker and Robert Kirkman who were the original creative team. I think Ryan Otley gets onto the book around the second or third trade, somewhere around there. And then he sticks with the book almost the whole way through every issue. And everything about this book gets better and better and better the further you go into the series. And it gets to a point where I could do a top 10 fight scenes, just picking fight scenes from this book. It's the best superhero book I've ever read. I'll put it that way. I don't know if you've read if you've seen the television show on Amazon at all. It does the series justice. Nothing is as good as the comic, but it really does the series justice in the sense that everything that the book makes you feel makes you go, oh. They don't back in the animated series. So you could give that a shot to see if it's up your alley. But man, is this a great comic book.
It really is. It really, really is. Although I think I said before, well, I've said many times, we've discussed it a few times, though we haven't. Sorry, we haven't discussed it in a while. But I remember saying that I gave up around about issue 16, I think, or something like that, 16, 20.
Yeah.
But you said you've got to stick with it, and I did, and I'm so glad I did. And when it picked up, another relentless series, another series that won't let you put the damn book down.
Yeah, it's an investment. There's 3 compendiums. But I'll tell you, there's a bunch of things on my shelf that I would get rid of quickly to make sure I kept those comics. It's then there isn't many books that I feel that way about, but it's just that good. The art gets that much better. It's got all the elements that we appreciate about superhero comics, whether you like the street level grounded characters, the cosmic stuff, the Superman, the Captain America, the Shield aspect. It's all there.
Yeah, and of course it's got its own versions of like the Justice League and some of those other characters, but it plays into the time travel elements. Everything you see in a superhero book is here, but he plays with it in a way that it's not been played with before.
Yeah, and because there's no, it's kind of like, I'm gonna make a wrestling reference because that's what I like to do, but it's like watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown on Netflix now, where there isn't a television time limit and commercial break that you've got to stick to. Now Robert Kirkman had whatever time he wanted to tell these stories. It was, when I'm ready to be finished, I'll be finished. And when it's done, you feel like, oh, that was worth, I think it was like 140 something issues.
Yeah, I think 147, 148, something like that, wasn't it?
Something like that. I think 12 hardcovers. Maybe more.
Don't know. 3 compendiums. That's what I've got. So
3 compendiums.
Yeah.
48 issues each, something like that.
Yeah.
Fight scenes galore. You got the cosmic elements galore. The time travel stuff is done so well. He doesn't have one villain that you feel is the villain, because everybody.
No, that's true. Not really.
No, it's like any one of those villains could be like, oh, this guy's back, and it's been this the whole time. It kind of feels like that.
Every time I thought of one, I would think of another one just then. Proving your point. There are spin-off titles as well, but you can just read the 3 compendiums and be perfectly happy and never know the other titles exist. But if you do want to know how the other titles like Brit, what were they called? The Guardians of the Globe, Invincible Universe, and all these other books, Atom Eve's miniseries, if you want to know how they all fit in between the issues of Invincible, including his guest appearances as well in other Image books, there is an Invincible reading order on the omniversecomics.guide website. It is the most comprehensive Invincible reading order you will ever see. The only thing that's not in it at the minute is the Battle Beast stuff because it's a brand new series, so that's not been incorporated yet. But I'm going to have to go back and see how it all fits in. Otherwise, you are good to go. And again, it will tell you what you can read, what you can skip.
Second to none.
Blah.
And I'm happy that I was able to mention a image reading order that we've got, which is extensive, like you said, comprehensive as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would love to do episodes just about this series because there's so much you can unravel and talk about, and places you can go as far as themes that we talk about on this show. Cosmic stories, like I said, fight scenes, love interests. It's all there. Deaths, right? Things that make shock
brutal
value.
deaths.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it doesn't feel cheap. Even when it's really, really brutal and it's shocking, it doesn't feel like a cheap move.
I think I included in our first top 10 fight scenes, I included the one with the Viltrumite and the Battle Beast that takes place like throughout a couple of issues when they go back, when they change scenes, they go back to their fight scene. No words, just them beating the shit out of each other. And the consequence, like there's an actual consequence to it. Like that's the thing about creator-owned comics. Again, the beauty of it, and sometimes the part that leaves you unsettled is like, oh, I really like that character. Right? Don't hurt them. And depending on the series, like in a superhero series, there's ways to explain yourself out of a problem, right? Which is why you keep reading. Like, what clever way are they gonna?
You can basically bring anyone back because they're an IP. Invincible
Right.
is the IP as a series, so he can
Right.
do whatever he wants with it, and he does.
And he does. He does. Yeah. Check it out if you haven't. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. If you've read, like Dave said, the first 16 issues or so, stick with it. Because I think, as the story goes, is there is a mic drop moment that occurs around issue 12 that really propels the series.
Yeah.
That moment was going to be saved for way later, but the series, I don't know if it was going to continue. No, the comic series.
Oh.
And I think Robert Kirkman was told through his editorial, like, hey, whatever you want to do at issue 24, why don't you fast forward that, give us a little bit of a bang for our buck, and see if people respond to that. And they did.
Yes, they did.
It was the move. It was the moment the book goes to where it goes.
It needed that, really. Because otherwise it just felt like a regular superhero book. But interestingly, they moved that moment to the first episode of the TV series. So some of the TV series is told in a different order. But if you watch the Heavy Spoilers show on YouTube, they do episode breakdowns. They'll take a few episodes ago, I think, and then break them down and talk you through how it relates. It's really smart. So that's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's a very dense. The Invincible universe is very dense. There's a lot of places that you travel to, a lot of key characters that come back around. Like they have a really a purpose. There's nothing really throwaway. And if there is a throwaway character, it's usually for the fun or the humor of it. But every character really makes their mark in Mark Grayson Invincible's world. It's great. It's a great series.
Omega Bread once more has commented, what I love about Invincible is that everything builds on what came before and it all counts. And that's just it. That's where it ends up being payoff after payoff after payoff. Meat Trunks has read a couple of Savage Dragon issues in which Invincible characters showed up. If you want to know where they are, you want to know where they sit, go on the Invincible Universe reading order, mate. It's called the
Invincible can you find that in order?
Universe reading order. It's on omniversecomics.guide.
There you go.
On the Tinternets.
Well, I think that is a great list of 10 comics, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, flawless list.
I think if you pick up any one of those books, you'll most likely have a good comic in your hands. I don't always feel that way with some of my own picks. I'm like, I don't know if everyone's going to love that. I know I like it, but in this case, these are really good comics.
That they
Top to bottom.
Top to bottom.
Dave, as always, a pleasure. Everybody that's been hanging with us on the Twitch, we thank you so much for joining us and listening to us on your podcast platforms, whether you're at work or in your car or walking your dog or doing the dishes, or if you're watching us on YouTube. We appreciate all of your support. Hit that subscribe button with a thumbs up. We
Or you're
appreciate it.
using a witch head in a really interesting way.
Like Omega Bread has been
Yeah.
this entire episode.
There's a mental picture to finish this off.
And of course, don't forget, like Dave mentioned just before, omniversecomics.guide for all of our podcast archives, interviews, collector item specials, and our reading orders that are second to none.
No.
Anything left
Cheers.
to say? Anything, Dave, before we leave?
Yes, just the promise that Shadowhawk will be featured in a future episode, no doubt. Kidding.
And any last words from Glenn?
None that I can repeat.
Glenn, go wash your mouth out with soap. Dave, as always, a pleasure.
Bye.
See you guys.